I don't think I've made one of these yet this year, and I've been meaning to, so here is everything I've read so far in 2026. I'll work backwards from what I'm reading right now, which is Slow Days, Fast Company, The World, The Flesh, and LA by Eve Babbitt. It's awesome, my first time reading anything by her, and I am... my cat's going crazy, sorry. And I'm obsessed. The way she writes is so awesome, and I'm so excited to look more into her and her relationship with Joan Didion, because I saw a Substack article about it being kind of like a girl so confusing situation, so very intrigued by that. Before that, I read The Odyssey in anticipation for the movie, which was great. I love Greek mythology, so it's a classic. Before that, sticking with the theme of classics, I read Of Human Bondage by William Somerset Maugham. I think it came out in 1915. Super long book, super slow burn, but ultimately a fantastic read. Then I read Phoebe Berman's Gonna Lose It by Brooke Averick. I've been a huge fan of Brooke and her podcast for years, so I of course had to read and support her. Then I read Dark Things I Adore by Katie Latari, which I enjoyed. I was looking for books about artists, and it takes place at an artist's camp in Maine. Good mystery. Not my favorite book ever, but I enjoyed it. Before that, I read The DeLoreat by Missouri Williams. I do not recommend this book, honestly. It was freaky and weird. And maybe there's a whole another level of things that I was missing, but I kept waiting for the freaky and weird stuff to make sense, and it just never did, and so it ultimately was just a very disturbing read. So, I don't recommend, but I did see it through, and I regret that. Just kidding, I don't. Before that, I read The God of the Woods by Liz Moore, which I loved. I was looking for just a classic page-turner, and this delivered in every sense. Then I read Lost Lambs by Madeline Cash, which was a super fun, quick read. I feel like it's a great book for anyone who's trying to get back into reading after a slump, because it was funny, there was also a little element of mystery. Writing was awesome. And the book that took up the first chunk of my year was Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. I have always seen this book everywhere. Who was John Galt? You know, wanted to read one of the classics, 1,200-page behemoth of a book, but it was great read. Glad that I have it under my belt. And then the first book that I read this year was Frankenstein. I actually read this in high school, and I remember I loved it, so when I saw the movie coming out, I was like, I kind of want to read it again and see if I loved it as much as I did in high school, because I'm not really sure why it resonated with me so much at the time. I did think it was awesome. Again, I watched the movie right after and didn't think the movie was a good adaptation, but I loved Jacob E's performance as always. I think mainly I was just so impressed that she wrote it when she was 18. It's pretty insane. I think that's everything, so that's 10 books, bringing me to August. I was planning to read the third Dune next, in anticipation for the movie coming out in the winter, because the last 2 years in a row, I've read one Dune book per summer, so I thought I'd keep it going. But I am open to any suggestions if anybody has any books that you think I should read. I seriously love reading so much. I think it is one of the most important things that we can be doing for ourselves, so would love any and all recommendations that you have. Mwah.